One. Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of the Scottish Running Podcast. I'll introduce you first, Pete, with Pete Tucker and myself. And we've did the last episode we did was Logan Rees a couple of months ago. We've did a few vlogs since then, but now we've got the main man himself, Mr. Ryan Thomson for Cambuslang. And Ryan hates cross country, but he's a bit of a demon on the roads, and he's just completely smashed his marathon PB in Valencia just a few weeks ago, and he celebrated last night by going to Sam Fender and having a good few pints. So, so Ryan, how you been anyway?
Been very good. I don't know that I was very good this morning, but I've had a few naps today and I'm feeling a lot better. But generally, just still riding that high for Valencia.
Nice.
Two and a bit weeks later.
That's what you got to do, man. When you hit a PB like that, you got to, at Christmas time as well. You've got to
I
just
know.
let the hair down. I can't let the hair down in there, but I can. I can
It
still
is a
still have a good time.
it's a good time of year for it. Like you never know when you're going to run. Like I might never run faster than that again. So you need to kind of just enjoy it because even like when I ran my 5K PB, I thought the next year I was just going to run faster again, but
Mm.
I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen now. So
Yeah,
just need to try and enjoy the good the good PBs.
definitely. That's an incredible PB. Because if it was, if Scotland standard a marathon, if the standard was still, 2:18 to qualify for the marathon, and if the Commonwealth Games in Australia were going ahead, then you would have been, in the Commonwealth Games team. But obviously things change, and people like Callum Hawkins make the standard a lot harder than that now. So
I know it's funny looking at the all time list how it's just like I think the last name on it's really like 1993, and then there's a really quiet period, and then it's just like Callum Hawkins, Wayne, Adam Craig, people that are like proper full time athletes with sponsorship deals. So it
Yeah,
feels like the standard was just so good like 30 years ago, and then there was a wee bit of a lull, but now it's just that time when everybody's running well. And I feel like it was always the same for me growing up. Like every age group I went to was just like a year ahead of me was like Neil Gourley and or guys who never even made it to seniors but were much better than him. And then next year when I was the oldest age, like Johnny Glenn and Ewan Gillum and people like that would move up, Aidan Thompson as well, and I just wouldn't catch a break.
yeah.
But it's um, it's a good time to be running in Scotland, definitely.
yeah, definitely, mate. And well, listen, you're in your prime. If you can say that your last marathon was your quickest, do you know what I mean? Then that's the most important thing. Do you know what I mean? So
Definitely.
who knows?
Aye. And it's good. I've been running for about 20 years now, and every year I've ran a PB over at least one distance.
Yeah,
So that's been good to keep going. I'm sure that'll get harder as my
yeah.
PBs get better, because I've probably only got like a half and a marathon ready for next year, but I've not made it easy for myself.
But that's why we keep doing it though, because we just love running.
I know, that's the thing. I love it. And every time I think, do I want to do this? It's really hard, and sometimes it's really like terrible. But I don't know what I would do if
That's
I wasn't running.
we all have that conversation, don't we? That thought process. What are we going to do if we stop running? So you may as well keep on at it while you can. And like we just said, luckily for you, you're still running PB. So I mean,
Aye,
you can have a bit of a lull, and then you can wait. If you still want to carry on running, you can wait till you're really old, and then you don't worry about PBs. You look at age group PBs. That's where I'm at now these days. That's what I'm resigned to. But you've got a
aye.
few more years yet.
Hopefully, a few more years yet. You see these
Definitely, mate.
guys running marathon PBs at 40, and you're like,
Yeah, I know. It's
yeah.
crazy, isn't it? Lots of people are, but I'm on a different sort of trajectory. But there you go.
I know. Don't know how they do it. Well, no offense, Pete, but I just as you get older and that as well, even guys in their fifties, it's like still running like just under 2:30 for a marathon. I'm like, you're in your fifties, is it? Are you a late developer, or are you just? I don't know. I I don't
There's
know
a
how they do it.
guy, I think he was 48, that was just behind me at Valencia.
Wow.
Um, Estevez, he won
Oh,
the
him!
European, he won the European 1500 meter champs in like the 90s.
Aye,
And I think
aye.
he ran 2:16 or 2:17 at Valencia.
Wow,
I'm
that's good.
just like, if I still got another 20 years at this, I mean, I love running, but I don't know if I
Yeah,
wanted to train hard like that for another 20 years.
that's it. Yeah.
It's
And he
impressive.
and I think he's ran like a good like he kind of sticks to Spain now. Like for he's running, but
Hmm.
he's running like a few like 28-minute 10Ks in the road. Like he's like winning all the masters and all that and stuff in Spain and like European championships and that as well. But I mean, then you're 48 years old and still holding
Crazy,
hammer
innit?
and tong. He's
Just shows
maybe
you.
just been consistent ever since he's qualified for Olympics and stuff. Maybe he's just not stopped.
That's the thing. If you just keep training, hopefully, and don't get any injuries or anything, then hopefully you can just keep improving until you're really old. But
Yeah.
still got a few years before that, hopefully.
Oh, definitely. So, as always with our podcast, before we get into the nitty gritty, let's go on to Pete Tucker, and Pete is going to take you through the ten questions about you. It's like Pete's Parkinson episode.
That's
This
it,
is what
mate.
like this is your life.
Right, so
Probably.
you're yeah. Let's do more of a mastermind sort of tactic. So your specialist subject today is Ryan Thomson. So what's your? I think we've touched on it already, but what's your best achievement or proudest PB?
I definitely think the proudest PB needs to be the marathon.
Yeah,
Um, I don't necessarily think it's my best PB. I think my 5K is probably my best PB, but just because the marathon took me so long to get right, like
yeah,
3 years, and some bad ones in there, I feel like the marathon is the proudest PB.
yeah.
Um, like proudest achievement is probably from a really long time ago, really going back. I ran
Hmm.
a Scottish record indoors at under 17. 3K, I think it was 8:53 under
Right.
17 indoors. And I don't know how at the time it was a Scottish record. I'm pretty sure it only lasted a year. But
Yeah.
I'm not going to do anything better than that, I don't think.
Decent Scottish. Well, okay, then that's an interesting. I hadn't picked up on that one. Have you still got that then, as far as you know?
No, I'm pretty sure it
Ooh.
got broke the year later. So Neil Gourley broke it, and then I
Ah,
broke his, and then the year after, somebody else, I think it was Gavin McArdle, broke mine. And then I think Gavin stood until like a few years ago when
right.
all these young boys started really stepping up their game.
Okay. Well, since we've had Neil on the show, we'll let him off. I can't slag him off. So there we go. Fair play. Right. Moving on now. I've just done a brief bit of stalking before we came on here. So I was tempted to actually answer your question for you, but so the question is favourite male athlete. Now I've seen that you posed with somebody recently in Paris. So if it's not that gentleman, uh, as in Mr. Haile Gebrselassie, I'm going to be a bit disappointed. But we're different eras, so you can
It's
say him if you want. But if it's someone else, then I'm interested to know. So your favourite male athlete?
I was I think I would need to go for a slightly different era and go for Kenny Sabakele.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
fair play.
I posed with him in April, to be fair, at the London Marathon. So
Okay, cool,
it's
Nice.
been a good year for meeting some great athletes.
good
But
stuff.
no, I love Gabri Selassie, but I think I was just slightly too young to really appreciate
Yeah,
how good he was, like Sydney and stuff.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
just wasn't quite understanding how amazing he was. But
yeah,
watching Bekele at Edinburgh every year
yeah,
and now actually getting to share a start line with him at London,
yeah. It's
um,
class.
it was amazing.
Fair play. Okay, mate. And then your favourite female athlete?
I think it's hard to see past Paula Radcliffe. That's just what she done so long ago in the marathon. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at London as well, somehow we ended up having lunch with her, and it was
All
just
right.
like the like this whole weekend. I was just like, this is crazy. What is happening here? How is this my life? Sitting eating lunch with Paula Radcliffe, and she was just talking to us about running and all that, and it was amazing. So I think I would need to go for Paula. I kind of love what like Molly Seidel does as well, but a more recent one like that Olympic medal. I stayed up to watch that. I think it was a pretty late
Yeah.
night that night, and just seeing somebody that I wasn't even really aware of, like an American winning a Olympic medal at the marathon is just crazy. Um, so it would be great to see her getting back. Just um, yeah, there's a lot to be fair. But I'll go with you two. Then there's two different eras for you.
Yeah, good stuff. No, good shout. Okay, mate. Moving on. Who's your favourite football team?
I'm not a football man, unfortunately.
That's okay.
I was terrible at playing it when I was a child, and I think mentally I just decided, no, it's not for me. I'm not even going to care about it. So,
well, if you're not really into your football and you say you're terrible at it, you should probably support someone like Man United. Then that probably. But no, no, fair enough, mate. And so, what's your? Have you got a favourite movie?
Favorite movie. I actually went back and started watching the Harry Potter films last week, and
Okay.
that first one is just so good. Like,
Yeah.
I know it's probably mostly a nostalgia thing, but they're good. So I'll go with Harry Potter.
Great shout, great shout. Okay. Moving on. In fact, so I was getting a bit ahead of myself when I was thinking about when I was saying Cambuslang, and obviously you talked about Bikili and also Paula. But this was the question I was getting at. The most interesting person you've met through running could be obviously someone totally different, could be a wee curveball. So who's the most interesting person you've met?
See, it's hard with someone like Cambuslang because you just get that photo and then they're away, they're whisked away. Because everybody wanted that photo that day. We were just lucky that we spotted them early. So I think most interesting, based on like people that I know pretty well, Emil Caress is an interesting guy. Just everything is focused on being the best marathon runner they can possibly be.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing because I think that I'm pretty focused. Like, I just want to be as good at running as I can. But he does things that I wouldn't even think of doing to be better at running.
What like?
He never took his laptop to Kenya because he said, I'm already behind these guys, so I don't need any distractions. I need to just be here and focused on running. And I'm like, so he just sat down all day and was like, not even thinking, just sitting there.
Yeah.
And like, obviously you can't drink the tap water in Kenya. So we were getting like 20-litre bottles. We would go to the shop, walk to the shop, and then get on the back of a motorbike with a 20-litre bottle. And that's what all of us did, except Emil. Emil would phone the guy with the motorbike and get him to bring the bottle so that Emil didn't even have to get up off his chair. Like, it's just for like recovery. And yeah, he's a really interesting guy and I love it. I just wish that I could be like that. Because it is just everything's for his running. And obviously you've seen the results from that, which is brilliant.
Yeah. No, fair enough. No, I've someone I've not had the privilege to meet. I've not crossed paths with him, but yeah, like you say, definitely seems like a focused individual. But I know it's slightly different kind of caliber of athlete. But like, I know what you mean. The little things that there's always someone you think you're quite focused, or you might be into, and then there'll be someone else that does something. You're like, well, I mean, I remember back in my army days, there was a guy I used to train with, and he never had a car. He just said, no, I'm going to just anywhere I need to get to, I'm going to walk, things like that. And we'd be on the coach on the way to a race, and or even on the way about after a race, sorry, and he had like a can of Coke, and he would just leave it until it went completely flat. He said, I'm not drinking fizzy drink, just stupid little things like that. And you're thinking, oh, is that the extra 1% I need? Like, is that going to make me any better? But you try it.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your favourite race then?
I can't say the national because I hate cross country, but I did used to love the national when I was growing up because it was just like the best event of the year.
Yeah.
And I could usually get away with running quite well on the cross country when I was doing all the races and it was quite short, like 4K and stuff. Because I usually run all right at the short course 4K.
Yeah.
Because I think before my body realises we're running on grass, it's kind of done. And also, I was lucky enough to be able to do a cross country race in Kenya at the start of the year, and that was just amazing. Like, such a different level.
Yeah.
And just like something that I would never thought I'd be able to do. So that was probably my favourite racing experience, but my favourite race will be the national. And I'm sure that will get some some comments, particularly from my dad.
Fair enough, mate. Okay, now like you say, it's an iconic race. It's an amazing domestic race. So yeah, good shout. And this is one we're always interested to hear. What's your favourite session?
Favourite session for the marathon, I like the K on, K off. Running the Ks on about 3 minutes to 3:05s and the
Yeah,
K off about 3:30. I just always feel like I'm able to recover. It's just like doing 10 by a K with a long recovery.
yeah,
And I've just always felt like I can really recover running about 3:30s, obviously when I'm fit. If
yeah,
I'm unfit, it would be terrible.
yeah.
And that was a session I used to do for 5Ks, 16 by 350 meters with a 50-meter jog recovery.
All right.
So I was running the 350s, and if I was fit, 57, 58, and I was running the 50-meter jog in like 21, 22 seconds. And that used to get me really fit, and I loved doing that. But can't do that now that I'm training for the marathon, 4 mile
Yeah.
of work.
No, I like that. Sounds like a brutal session. I mean, I try and make a note of any key sessions that I picked up. So I'll add that. I will do that session at least once and report back. But no, decent.
Let me
And
know how it goes.
yeah, definitely. With that session, you say like the K on, K off. I mean, I think a lot of guys sort of get involved in that. So how many in the marathon? Like how many are you doing? Sorry.
Usually 10. About 3 or 4 weeks before Valencia, I actually did 11.
Right.
But that's the most I've ever done.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
And have you ever found, because again, with that session, I don't know if it's just me, but there'd be times when I'm not running particularly well and I sort of know what shape I'm in. It's not great, but I found out, like, say if I was doing, like, I don't know, a 10K race, but then I might say if I did like a 5K on, 5K off, 5 times a K on, a K off instead, sometimes I'm actually running quicker in training. Like, I don't know, have you ever experienced anything like that where you actually, because obviously you're generally told, running at a nice even pace is the best. You wouldn't actually do that in a race, clearly, but have you ever like really like smashed it out of the park and thought, actually, that's actually quite a decent time overall for that session?
Yeah, like it's good. It was good going to 11 because you get kind of a half marathon split.
Yeah,
And really, I think those float sessions, like any kind of float session that you're doing,
yeah,
even like 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 Ks with a K float, like that adds up to a lot of volume.
yeah,
But some of the splits that Strava gives you, like your 10 mile split or your half
yeah,
marathon split, you're like, Jesus. There
yeah,
was one I did just after I ran my half marathon PB. I think it was like the week later. 6 by 3K on, a K off. And I went through the half in 66:10. And I was like, 8 days ago, that would have been a PB.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's just because you're absolutely smashing
Yeah,
these
exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
3Ks.
Yeah,
But yeah, then you can kind of recover running about 3:25 and you're not actually losing that much time.
yeah,
And my dad always tells me to do that in the marathon. He's like, if you feel terrible and you feel like you need a rest, just float for a K because you
yeah,
know that you can do it and get back going. I've never actually had to do it yet,
yeah.
but
Take that, Dad.
I know, but it's a good thing to know that you can do if you need to.
Good stuff. Cool. Okay, that was interesting. Thanks for that. Moving on. What's your favourite food?
I love a good burger. I do like a burger. So can't go wrong with that.
Okay, are we like any sort of particular? Is there a particular brand or franchise or homemade?
Nah, well, nah, just like a nice burger restaurant.
Good stuff.
I'm not going to make them myself. I made them for the boys on training camp once, and it did not go down well. So definitely stick with restaurant burgers.
Good stuff. All right, mate. And then next one, favorite. Phobia or pet hate.
I'm pretty scared of heights. I don't like being high up. I'm fine with like roller coasters and stuff, but if
Yeah.
if it broke down and I had to walk down the stairs, it would not be good. So
The dinner at the top of the Shard or a wee trip up the Eiffel Tower is not really for you then.
no, I don't think so. As long as there's like a high enough barrier, I'll be fine. But
Yeah.
no, I don't like to be high up. I don't think I'll ever be skydiving or anything anytime soon.
Fair enough. All right, and listen, I'm not even going to answer this. That's pretty much it. I'm not going to ask the final question unless you actually play poker.
I don't play
You don't.
poker, unfortunately.
Good
No.
man. You're a sensible man. You're too busy training like we should all be doing. Right. Let's move on. Right, Sean, back over to you, mate. Cheers for that.
So give us a good insight to the life of Ryan Thomson and how he achieved that 2:15 marathon.
There's not that much going on, but that's all right, I think.
That's brilliant. So you've been running for 20 years, you said?
For as long as I can remember, I would say properly running since I was about 9.
9. Wow.
Both my parents were runners.
Yeah,
Uh,
Charlie Thompson.
Charlie Thompson. Aye.
Rascal. Every time I raced him, I think the closest I got to him was like a second. He always had a kick. Ah, God damn it,
He was
Charlie.
just strong. He's always been strong. I don't think he ever broke 60 seconds for 400, but he ran 30:06 for 10K.
What?
It's just
Wow.
so any limited speed I've got comes from my mum. So, but no, they made me swim. I think when I was like 4 or 5, just because when we used to go on holiday to Spain, they didn't want me to drown. So that was it. Got to swimming lessons, and it turned out I was quite good at swimming. So just kind of moved up the groups quite fast. And then when I was like 9, it was right. You're moving into this group. You need to start swimming before school. I'm like, oh, I don't know about that, but anyway, I just kind of do everything I'm told. So the night before it, I was lying in bed and I couldn't sleep. And I was like so stressed out because I was like, oh, I'm not going to get enough sleep. I'm going to be tired. I'm still the same now as an adult. If I need to get up early, I'm stressed out. And I remember going into my mum and dad's room and just being like crying as a 9-year-old, being like, I don't want to swim anymore. I just want to run. And that was it. Got myself a Cambuslang vest, went to the club, and never went back swimming.
Nice. Nice.
So
But I probably the swimming aerobically would have did a good bit for the aerobic development getting into running, probably.
I don't know. I wasn't that good when I was young. I used to get beat in all the school cross country races. Like I never won an event at sports day. All the footballers used to sit behind me in the 800 and just sprint away at the end. So there wasn't much in terms of talent there. But it definitely must have helped. And like I used to, when my mum was doing her Sunday long run, I'd go out on the bike where
Mhm.
and stop at halfway and have some sweeties and juice and then go back again. Uh, so I was always like active as a child, but I don't know how much that helped me in terms of running. Like I still wasn't great until I was about 15, 16.
Yeah.
You definitely got some good running genes there. In fact, I've just had a quick look there to check that. So I see apparently Charlie is he's a 2:22:28 man. Is that right? From 1994.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
well, listen, with super shoes and all the advancements at that, I reckon that's about a 2:14 in this day and age. Do you know what I mean? So, fair
Yeah,
play.
I was actually saying this recently. Like, I'm so glad that I've just got his PB like by quite a bit because, like, a minute or two, you'd be like, "Is that the shoes?" But quite sure 7 minutes were all right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will let you have that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a good 7 minutes ahead is if it was 2:20, you'd be like, yeah, it's the shoes. But nah, you've like coming from me since I never ever beat Charlie. Like I can say, well done, Ryan. You absolutely destroyed him, mate. Well done.
Thanks, mate. I've got all his PBs now, I think, so it's all right.
You're like Thanos with the glove.
I think I used to get some money. I think it was like 30 quid every time I broke a PB. And it was like, it was easy with the 8s and 15s. But once we started to get to the half marathon and the 10Ks and all that, it was quite a struggle. He didn't make it easy for me.
Yeah. What is your 800 time?
157.1.
Wow. I still maintain it to this day. Like, see if someone said to me, right, you've got 8 weeks and you either need to train for a marathon or an 800, I'd pick a marathon because 800s are horrible.
I did a park run on Saturday and it was just so much harder than the marathon. Like, it's just so intense and it's
Yeah.
like hard. The marathon's obviously got things that make it really hard,
Hmm.
but I don't think that it's hard like physically. You're breathing and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just long,
Yeah.
and like you get stomach issues or you get cramp and stuff you need to deal with. Whereas a
Yeah.
5K is just hard,
Yeah. That is
and
just,
I can't say I remember 800s. It's I think I must have run that 800 PB when I was about 17,
hmm
and I've probably not really done one since.
yeah.
Uh,
What's the point?
I just knew it was never going to be for me. My dad was telling me since I was a wee boy, "Oh, you're going to be a long distance runner,"
Yeah.
and he was right, but I wish I'd stuck with the 15s a bit longer, seeing how
Yeah,
all the boys are doing that were running about my age.
yeah. I mean, I think Neil Gurley is as the exception. He's just seems to be a bit of an absolute demon. I mean, like
It's
he went to the Greenock track and did like a time trial.
mhm.
The 800-meter ran like 1:46, and I was like, what is that? Like, it's like 13 seconds per 100 meters, and he's doing it 8 times. I'm like, just insane. Like,
It's funny because there's a lot of people that growing up you'd be like, right, well they're much faster than me, they're much faster than me, I need to make sure I get away for them in the last 100. But I don't remember Neil ever being one of those people.
Right.
yeah,
Like he's obviously just trained really hard and did all the right things to get to where he is.
hmm
But it's amazing to see.
oh yeah,
He's a good guy, Neil. He's
oh
Yeah.
always
yeah,
got time for you. Um,
yeah. He's a good guy. I mean, Neil replied to us. I mean, like Josh Kerr and Jake didn't. So
so Neil's your favourite.
yeah, yeah. Neil is our favorite. He's the Scottish Running Podcast favorite now.
Lovely. He's the one that I know best because he was like my age group. He's a year older than me. So
Yeah,
every second year I'd get to race him and like go on teams with him and stuff. He's definitely the one I know best.
yeah.
Um,
No, but
he's a good lad.
uh, he's a great, but he's not ran. He's not ran 2:15 for a marathon. So
Could he though? There's a question.
I know that's a shout actually. I mean, I'd be interested to see if like these guys, like Josh, Jake, obviously Neil, even like Chris Hare before like he chucked it.
Hmm.
Like if they did go up to marathon and trained like for like 6 months, like what would they run? Because I think Josh has ran like is he around like a 60 half or 62 half or something?
Something like that. I think it may have been 61 high. But I
Uh,
was having this conversation before, like, could Josh Kerr beat me in a marathon? And I was like, well, I'm pretty sure he could beat me in a marathon because he'd just sit with me and run away.
yeah,
It's because there's so much that goes into the marathon that if he just kind of rocked up to it in his half marathon shape, you don't know what's going to happen.
yeah.
I'm still very much on the team that he would beat me. Um,
See,
I'm,
I
You
don't
don't.
know.
It's not always as easy, like you say. It's not as easy as that. But yeah, in theory, what you're saying. But there's just some people they're just not wired for the marathon at all. A lot of people though, yeah, it can
Mhm.
convert. But there's so many people that you see have got these quick, even half times, and just don't quite get it right in the marathon. So you
uh,
never know.
See, and I'm
Josh
not.
has never. Well, Josh doesn't
Yeah,
look like he should be able to run a good half. Like he's a powerful
Yeah,
1500 meter runner.
yeah, yeah,
Like you would expect a good one for somebody like Neil, but
yeah.
it's he's obviously got some good endurance there.
oh yeah, definitely. And I'm not saying this because like Josh, ignored me and Pete when we asked him to come on the pod and that. But just think, the 15, it's such a completely different event. I mean, you get lactic acid everywhere. Your heart literally screaming. But at the marathon, for me, for the 3 marathons I've did, there's one thing that's the common denominator. It's just the sheer fatigue that
Mm,
builds up in your legs. It's like how you need to learn how to get over that, like that feeling of your legs physically, like they just. It's not like you can't go at a pace. It's like no, your legs physically get to a point where I don't think I can keep going here. Whereas in
hmm
the 1500 meters, you can keep going, but the lactic acid just slows you down. So
Aye.
it would be interesting to see. I don't not say they can't, but it'd be interesting to see what kind of time he would run if he did do a
Yeah.
marathon.
Got to message him and set up a head to head, see if he ignores you again.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh yeah,
let's
absolutely, absolutely. Like Brian Thompson, and you could never beat him. Not
yeah, see if we can make that happen. We know someone though, Sean, don't we? Who's apparently pals with Josh Kerr or knows him quite well, and we need to speak to this gentleman to set that up and make it happen. But
Johnny Glenn.
there you
Uh,
go.
Johnny Glenn's a dad now, so
I know, I seen that.
congratulations,
Congratulations to
congratulations
Johnny.
to
Yeah,
Johnny for
congratulations, Johnny. Good to know.
that's his running career over.
So I'll just jump in there only because we were talking about marathons and how tough it can be and stuff like that. Obviously, we need to come on. I want to hear a little bit more about your PB and how that went. But before we get onto that, let's talk a little bit about the debut. So London Marathon, was it 2021, 2:37:23?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Give us a little run through of that, if you don't mind, mate.
So yeah, pretty much the Commonwealth Games standards got released at some point, probably in 2020. And the only one that looked half achievable to me was the marathon. I think this time was 2:15:12, um, which people will probably realise I've still not ran. That tells you how achievable it was at that time. But I wouldn't say I didn't know what I was doing training wise, but I mean, looking at the training, it looks a lot like I didn't know what I was doing. The training was just so different back then. I was probably running just over 100 miles a week in the big weeks,
Hmm.
but there was a lot of weeks in there where I was maybe tapering for a half or tapering for even, I think I did a 5K in the track just a few months before it.
Yeah.
And I was fit for the marathon. I was really fit, but I wasn't in marathon shape
Yeah.
because I hadn't done the big sessions. Like now, I think you need to be getting up over 30K, running it really hard, like knowing how it's going to feel in a marathon. And I just didn't do that. I think my biggest session was a 15-mile treadmill tempo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is looking back now, I'm like, that's crazy. Um, so I went in underprepared, but there was absolutely no shifting me for that 2:15 goal. I was like, well, I could run like maybe 2:19, but then if I feel really strong, I regret not going for it.
Yeah.
I know now that I couldn't have ran 2:19 that day. I could maybe have ran about 2:22, 2:23 because the marathon is just so hard and so far, and I hadn't properly prepared for it.
Yeah.
But I went out in that 2:15 group. I mean, it felt fast. It did feel fast, but I kind of dropped off at about 10 miles because I was like, this is too fast. Then about 12 miles, I started to get cramp, which has been the story of almost all my marathons to this point.
Yeah.
Get really bad cramp. And then I stopped at the side of the road 11 times to stretch my calves because they were just cramping so bad.
Yeah.
But I still loved the experience.
Yeah.
It was just like nothing I'd ever experienced before. The crowds at London, because I dropped off the back of my group at 10 miles, I got to go over Tower Bridge completely on my own. Like the crowd was going mental, and the group was probably about 200 meters ahead of me. And I turned around, and the next guy was like 200 meters behind me. And I was just like, well, this is never going to happen again. So
Yeah. Yeah.
let's just enjoy how amazing this is.
Were you giving it the arms up in the air and all of
And
that?
no,
Or...
I was, no, I wasn't feeling particularly positive at that point. I knew it was
Fair
going to be a
enough.
long day
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because I think, what, 68:20-ish at half. Pretty sure I was on like 67 and a half pace for about 10 miles.
Right.
So it was a pretty sudden, steep decline.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I seen my parents at 14 miles, and my dad said after the race that he told me to drop out at that point. I
Yeah.
didn't hear him. If I had heard him, it might have been a different story I was telling here. But he told me to drop out a game, and I seen him at 21 because I stopped to stretch my calves right next to them. I
Yeah.
was like, well, I may as well chat to them. He told me to drop out, and I was like, no, well, I need to go back and get my stuff anyway. I'm like,
Yeah.
what's the point in going and getting a subway or the underground 5 miles when I can just walk jog it?
Yeah.
Um, so I'd done that. I got to run with Shalane Flanagan for a mile, so it was an absolutely brilliant day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just the actual performance was a massive, massive wake up call.
From an outside perspective, would it be fair to? I mean, I think, yeah. I mean, you clearly a fit guy. Like you said, you were really fit for it. Maybe not as prepared for the marathon as you might have been, but you weren't to know that going in as your first one, I
Mhm.
guess. But it's fair to say you maybe just rolled the dice and gave it a go. So I like that. Do you know what I mean? It's not like I mean, obviously it didn't work out, but it's not like
Yeah,
it's complete. It's not like you're a 250 runner or a 3 hour runner or something like that. And you just thought, you know what, I'll just try and run 2:15. So
yeah,
you obviously got the tools, and yeah, you rolled the dice. So fair play.
yeah. I think that you just, unless you're really doing it in training, which, as I say, I wasn't, you
Yeah,
just don't know what's going to happen in a marathon.
yeah,
Uh, as I said, if I went out, say, 69:30 through the half, and with 10k to go, thought, oh, I feel brilliant here. This is
Yeah.
amazing. I'm going to just pick it up, and
Yeah.
ran like 2:17:30. I would have been gutted. I would have been like, I could have done that there.
Right.
But no, there was no telling me. My dad kept trying to tell me, I don't think this isn't going to
Yeah.
end well. And I
Yeah.
was just like, no, it's fine. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because I thought I could go it in 67 and a half and struggle home in maybe a 2:20. Like that was in my mind what was going to happen if it went wrong.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's not how it works in the marathon,
Well, that's it.
as
Yeah.
everybody else probably knew, but I did not know at that point.
Yeah, no, no. I mean, you can look at like everyone could have their own opinion, but hindsight's a wonderful thing as well. But that just shows you the mentality of where you want to get to, what you're trying to achieve. That you saying before it, you would have been disappointed with that, whatever 2:18 or whatever. But obviously, looking back now, if you had done that and then, like you said, pushed on, of course you'd have probably bit someone's hand off to do it. But yeah,
Yeah.
obviously you've moved on now, and it shows that that's you've got that mentality to do that. So just looking at a couple of things as well. Am I right in saying so? You talked about the cramp. You take some magnesium and sodium. Is that right?
Yeah, so every time I run a marathon, pretty much I get cramp, and I always think I know what the issue is.
Mm-hmm.
The next marathon, I get cramp again. And I'm like, all right, well, that wasn't the issue.
Yeah.
I think the first time I thought that the issue was that I'd done all my training in like old racers, old Adidas racers, like no carbons, and then I raced in carbons. The thinking was, well, I'm going to feel brilliant on race day. Didn't work. I thought that's what had given me the cramp. But then when I did Valencia last year, so 2023, I got cramp again.
Right.
And after that, I was like, right, well, it's fluids. I need more fluids. I was just using gels. I'll have fluids at London and I'll be fine. Had my drinks on the table at London, got cramp again. So I'm just like, all of those marathons, just trying to figure out the cramp, not really knowing why it's happening. And yeah, knowing now about the cramp, like London, that first London was never going to be a good day. As much as I can say I was probably in 2:22, 2:23 shape,
Yeah.
it was never going to happen because I was going to get cramp anyway.
Right.
Because I had never figured it out. And you can't figure these things out until you just go and do them.
Yeah.
And hobble, yeah, 2:37. I still stand by the fact that I did not walk that day. I just stopped 11 times to stretch my calves. My dad
No.
loves to tell everybody that I walked, and I'm like, no, I did not. I ran the whole way. I just
Yeah.
had to keep stopping.
Fair play, because I don't think you've not DNF'd in a race, have you? Unless I'm mistaken.
I have now. I
You have now,
hadn't at
right?
that point.
Yeah, at that point you hadn't. Okay.
Yeah, I've DNF'd. I had never DNF'd in almost 20 years of running, and then twice in 6 months. So
All right.
that was a bit of a low point. But it's like the first time I was injured, and I knew I was injured, but I was in really, really good shape. And it
Right.
was a tail for 10k 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I think I could fly run this, but it was one of those ones. I was doing a session in the Emirates a week before it, and after every rep, I had to use my massage gun on my hip because it was so sore.
All
I
right.
couldn't even do a warm down because it hurt so much. I couldn't stand on one leg. When I was putting my boxers on, I had to put like all my weight on a surface so that I didn't need to stand on one leg.
Yeah.
So, runners are just a bit
I was
nuts
going to say, I mean, I'm not a
sometimes.
physio. I mean, my wife is, but I think I would say that you probably shouldn't have done that race. To be fair.
Yeah. So I think I got a good I got a good 2k in, and then it was just like basically running on one leg, and I had to DNF. So I've got a new rule now. If I can't stand on one leg, I'm not
That's
racing.
That's sensible. Yeah, we should all take that forward. But sorry, just going back to the marathon, I'm glad you didn't DNF at London because not always, but sometimes I look at our guests, but most of the time it's completely pointless. But I thought just for banter, I'll have a look and see what our head to head is, Ryan.
Oh,
And
here we go.
so it's 7-1 to you at the moment. That is at the moment. So I've still got time to turn that. But so yeah, 7-1. I mean, 4 of them were cross countries, which don't really count because you said how much you love cross country. You love the national, so that's a bit unfair. So yeah, so basically that's like what 3-1 is it? Or yeah, and they were 10Ks. But yeah, well, the marathon's 1-0 to me at the moment.
So
So
that was London 2021. What did you run that day?
What did I run? I'm not. I think I was. I think I was maybe 2:28 or something. I'm not sure, but yeah. So what I'm going to do, if you could do me a favor, just let me know anytime you're doing a marathon, and I'll just ensure that I don't enter that race. Is that all right? So,
That's fine. I'll
cool.
I'll let you know when I confirm what my next marathon's going to be.
Please do, mate. Please do. And yeah, just again, just we were talking a bit beforehand. Just moving on a little bit. I know you know a friend of mine, Mr. Braden, Ross Braden. You've
Yeah.
been doing a bit of training with him. So yeah, tell us a little bit about some of the training camps you've been on. I think you've been out in Flagstaff as well. I don't know where else you've been more recently. Were you training with Phil as well? Phil
Yeah.
Sisson, right?
I
And
think,
then
yeah.
so go
I
on. Yeah,
was
go on.
I was just going to say training with is maybe a bit of a stretch of the truth. I was training around the same time as Phil.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Where was that then? Sorry.
So we've been to Font twice together and Kenya once. I also went down to Leeds last year for a month and was doing a bit of training with him there.
Yeah.
But that just came about. Basically, I wanted to go to Font in September 2022.
Hmm.
And I was looking at Airbnbs, and it was basically you can stay in this thing that looks like a ski hut, and it's got one single bed, and you're going to be there, and it's going to be crap. And it was like, so I was going for 7 weeks, and I think it was like 900 quid for the 7 weeks. Or else you could get like a really nice 3 bedroom for like 1500 for the
Right.
7 weeks. And I was like, well, I could just rent out rooms. I know a lot of people go to Font at that time of year. Like, I could actually end up being the same price for a really nice flat. So I just done it. I had no idea how I was going to go about getting people to stay in the rooms.
Yeah.
But, and then just completely by chance, like a week before I went out, Phil posted on Insta as an Instagram story saying, is there anyone that's got a spare room in Font for these dates?
Yeah.
And I just messaged him, like I'd never met him before.
Yeah. Yeah.
He,
Yeah.
I just followed him because he was really good at running.
Yeah.
And messaged him, was like, yeah, actually I've got a 3 bed, it looks quite nice. This is it here, I'm going these dates. So if you want to stay out a bit longer, you can. And he was like, oh, that sounds brilliant. I'll
Yeah. Yeah.
actually take you up on that. So my first introduction to Phil was me and him sharing a 3 bedroom flat for 10 days. And it was just great, like actually being able to spend time with somebody who's like so much faster than you.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was training for 5Ks. Um, so I was able to actually train with him as well. And Ross was there that year as well.
Right.
So Phil was sleeping in Ross's sofa bed, which is why he moved in with me. So he had his own room.
Right.
We were doing some good training together because I could do like 60% of the session
Yeah.
and just help them out on the
Yeah.
track and stuff. And that was great. And for some reason, I still don't really know why, he must have quite liked me. He invited me back a year later. Um, and that's just kind of been it. Like everybody that I've then met on these training camps has kind of been because of that one message that I sent to Phil
Really cool. Yeah.
2 years ago. And it's been amazing. And I think that that's the reason why my marathon training in 2021 looks so different from it does now.
Yeah.
Because seeing what these guys are doing and seeing
Yeah.
what you actually need to do to run a good marathon
Yeah.
is just so different to anything that I would have even considered doing in 2021.
Yeah. I guess it's just good surrounding yourself with those types of runners as well. Do you know what I mean? And
Oh
like
yeah,
you say,
like
meeting people like Emil and seeing his mindset and stuff like
I
that.
know, like sometimes they just say something and it's just a kind of off the cuff comment. You're
Yeah.
like, never thought about that. That's actually quite good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just things like that. So, and then when they messaged me about Kenya, they were going to Kenya on the 2nd of January. And for some reason, I didn't start planning it till like the 23rd of December, which is the most stressful thing I've ever done in my whole life. Um, but I was like, oh yeah, who's going? And he was like, my mate Vinny, who I'd met already. He's from Iceland, ran like 13:20. Vinny was going, and Emil Keres and Mark Scott. And I was like, right, okay, that sounds like it'd be quite good. And you just kind of sometimes you're like, how have I ended up in this group of people? Like, my running achievements do not match up here.
No,
But
that's pretty cool. You're in the mix. You're mixing it with them in training, so that's all we need to know. So onwards and upwards. We're being
no, it's
positive on the Scottish Running Podcast here.
oh
We're
no, definitely.
yeah.
No, it's good when they're not that fit. You can maybe do a little bit with them
Yeah,
and
exactly. Yeah, no,
do a
cool.
little bit
I
of
was
doing
just
stuff.
going to I'll go back over to Sean because he's probably got a few more questions. I don't want to hog it too much, but no, I've had a bit of banter with Ross over the years with bets and stuff. You might have seen stuff. So whatever he says is not true, but he seems to think that I owe him some money, but he's definitely lost a few bets to me. But what I will say is having a look on the Power of 10, I believe you've got a quicker half marathon PB than Ross. So I'm prepared to have a bet with Ross, £10, that you're going to beat Ross's marathon time because I think you're just behind his. Is that right?
It's just over a minute. I think
Yeah, well,
he's
you're quicker over the half, so don't
yeah.
let me down. I'm going to get on to Ross about that and say we'll have that bet that you will we'll say within the next 5 years, we'll call it that. You will run quicker than Ross. So,
No, I'm happy to take that
yeah,
bet as well.
good man. That's what I like to hear. Good man. Cheers for that.
So in Valencia Marathon, where you absolutely smashed it,
Yeah, let's talk about that.
was there a point, not let a runner's high, but did you get to like 20 miles and you're just like, I'm flying, I'm gonna smash this, and there was no thoughts of, oh damn it, I'm gonna hit the wall with it. Was it sheer confidence the whole way?
No, I don't think it was sheer confidence the whole way
Yeah.
because I've ran 3 marathons in the past. I think that it's very hard to be running a marathon and just think that everything's going to go well. Honestly, the only time where I was like, right, this is it, this is going, was 40K. I looked at my watch and I've seen that I needed like 7:10 for the last 2.2K for 2:15. And some reason I kind of knew that that was reasonable. I think I'd looked at like the London splits at the time, like when I ran it in April. And I knew that people were kind of running about 7 minutes for the last 2K. So I was like, I can do this here. Like, this is going to be great. And that last 2K was amazing. I felt the best I'd felt in the whole race. But actually, before that, it wasn't that good. I would say it's the worst I've felt in a marathon in the first half. And I didn't feel bad. Like, I still felt comfortable because I'm running at marathon pace, and the first 10, 12 miles is always going to feel quite good. But it always just felt a bit too fast. I was like, I would much prefer to be running like 2, 3 seconds a k slower than I'm running right now. But I kind of just stuck with the plan and trusted that it was going to happen. And obviously it did in the end. I managed to, like, I was fine. It wasn't too fast. Just, I don't know why, if it was just one of those days where things feel a wee bit quicker. Like, I wouldn't say it was a bad day. Like, it was a great day. It was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But generally, when I'm running a marathon, up until the point where I've had cramp in the previous ones, I've felt brilliant in those first 10 miles. Like, just like I'm at a steady run. Like, if somebody told me I was running like 5:30s, I would believe them, even though I'm running like 5:10s. Whereas I felt every second of that 5:10s at Valencia. So that was strange. But again, a few times I was like, right, it feels fast, but does it feel hard? And I just like, well, no, it doesn't feel hard. It feels fine. It feels like the right effort. So I just had to trust that it was fine. And then, so in every marathon before this one, I've had cramp before halfway. About 12 miles, I always get cramp. Sometimes it's pretty bad. Both Londons, it's been bad from 12 miles. Valencia last year, it appeared about 12 miles, but wasn't bad until about 18. And this time I just didn't get cramp at that point. I was like, well, that's good. Like, because then every mile you're like, well, this is better than last year. This is better than last year. And I've always said, like, if I get cramp at 20 miles, that's completely fine. I understand that a marathon's going to be hard. You're going to have your issues.
Yeah.
If I get cramp at 20 miles, it's whatever. I'm just going to keep pushing through it. Getting cramp at 20K felt unreasonable. So once I started to get close to 20 miles, I was like, right, well, this is good. This is going to be good. But you still never know what's going to happen. Like, 3 miles before I was like before I was gubbed at that first London, I felt amazing. So there's just no real telling. So I got a wee bit of cramp at 18, and then I got a really bad cramp at 20, where my calf just kind of locked up, and that lasted for about 10 seconds. But then it was fine, and then it went away, and it was all right, and then I never got any more cramp. And I think that's because I took a lot more salt on than I have ever previously. And it sounds so stupid to be like, I've ran 3 marathons that weren't quite in my potential because I've not had enough salt. Like,
Yeah.
everybody should know that cramp is a salt issue. I don't know why I never really tried it before. I was always just like, oh, I probably do have enough salt. I'm probably fine. It's not that hot. I can't be sweating that much. But that was daft. And I think I figured the cramp out because I never had any drinks at Valencia, which if I was able to put like salt in some water or some electrolyte tablets and get them every 5K, I don't think I would have got any cramp at all. But I wasn't able to do that in Valencia because everybody can run under 210 and there's only so many tables that they can have.
Yeah,
Um,
I know. I remember doing Valencia last year, and I was just like, there was even like people running like 240 and stuff. Like, well, I wasn't in that group. Again, I was not fit again. But there's even people at 240 with the wee fruit shoot bottles and stuff. I'm just like, wow, they've taken this really seriously. I'm just quite happy with the good old Spanish council water. Like, I'm cool
that's
with
what
that.
I was just grabbing the water off the course,
Yeah.
and I had 2 wee bags of salt. I put like a teaspoon of salt in a wee bag because my great idea was that I was going to pour it in the bottles that I got for the course.
Yeah.
But then when it came to it, I couldn't be asked pouring it, unscrewing the lid and opening the bag and pouring it in. So I was just pouring the salt on my hand and licking it off, um, which is kind of minging. But I was like, well, I don't want to get cramp. Like the
Yep.
only thing that could make this race go badly now is cramp because I knew that I felt good. My stomach was in a really bad way, actually,
Mhm.
the whole race pretty much. And I think that's all the salt that I was taking. That definitely
I was going to
didn't
ask Ryan,
help.
sorry. So in an ideal world, say if you've got your elite entry or whatever race it may be, and you've got your drink stations, what is your actual routine? So what are you doing these days now then for salt? Is it like, are you using salt stick, or is it like a supplement, or is it you just literally putting some salt in water? What are you actually doing to combat that?
So in the 24 hours before, so basically when I wake up the day before, all the water that I drink will have either just salt in it, like half a teaspoon of salt in a
Right.
500 ml bottle,
Okay. Yeah.
which is minging, but there's
Yeah.
not much I can do about it.
Yeah.
Or I was using precision fuel tablets as well.
Right.
They've got 750 milligrams of sodium per tablet.
Okay.
So I think I used 3 of them the day before, just kind of interspersed with salty water. When I needed a break for salty water, I'd have the precision fuel because
Right.
actually, even though it's got a lot of sodium in it, it's quite nice. And then, yeah, I'll continue that until I start the race. I was drinking salty water basically on the start line. Some guy asked for a sip of my water, and I was just like, yeah, it's got salt in it though. And I think he was like Spanish or something. He had no idea what I was saying. So I just kind of was like, yeah, here you go, and like walked away because I didn't want to see his reaction. Um, but so a lot of salty water.
Okay.
Just
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember. Maybe it was just before we came on. We were having a chat. I don't know whether it was early in this conversation. I can't remember now. But we talked little bit about deals and stuff. So a precision sorting you out. Are you got a wee deal with them?
no, I don't have any videos with
Right.
anyone. I'm
Right.
just that's what I use.
We need to
So
try and make that happen. Then, well,
yeah.
maybe if they listen to this, which I'm sure they will, we'll see if they can send you a few packets of electrolyte and stuff.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure your man Ross Braden gets some
He
electrolytes
definitely
from.
does. He's got his fingers in many pies. So yeah.
I'm sure Pete could probably sort you. Pete can do it for you. Like, how you doing? I'm the agent of Ryan Thomson, third in the Scotty. Like, this boy needs salt, and they'll be like, yeah, yeah, cool. Like,
Please don't make this poor boy drink any more salty water. He's drank enough.
There you go.
I know, man. But yeah, but again, like you said, though, you got your stomach, but you still get through and got the 215, and then that was
Uh,
you, third, or the third fastest Scottish person this year. Well,
I
behind. Wayne Gibbs-Selassie, and you were only a handful of seconds off of Callum Hawkins this year. So I
Yeah,
know Callum's not at his best, but it,
I know, and it's good. Like it's kind of amazing looking at things like the all-time list, and I think the Power of 10 all-time rankings for the UK, they go to like 216. So being on that, I'm pretty sure it's
Yeah,
my first ever all-time list on Power of 10.
nice.
It's kind of mad. It's the same with the London Marathon Elite thing. It's just like it's definitely not lost on me how like good it is to actually be in this company because I've been in this sport for a long time and I've obviously known all these guys' names because all my dad ever talked about is running. So names like Peter Fleming and like as a guy Andy Daly, who I think I ran just about the same time as. Like obviously Peter Fleming's still quite a bit faster than me, but I'm not a million miles away now. And I've been hearing stories about these guys since probably since I was born. And it's just amazing to actually be there in that sort of company
that's awesome.
because I've been training hard for a long time now.
You should find out, like, you said your dad, like, oh, he ran all his PBs and that back in the day and all that stuff. He goes like, oh, I ran 30:06 for this 10K. Like, oh, what was that? The Kilmarnock 10K. I back in the day, that was actually 5.8 mile, Charlie.
I know they can't even measure courses right now, so that's some of his PBs. I'm like, don't know about
You're,
that.
you're also you're also doing yourself a bit of an injustice there, but like you say, all-time list at the marathon, I think 180 and all-time list on Power 10. But that 3,000 meters indoors we talked about with former Scottish record holder, you made the all-time list there as well.
Oh, did I? Oh, there
Uh,
we
Not
go.
bad.
It's under 17 now, isn't it?
yeah, counts.
It's
Where is it? Hang on. 83rd, 2013 all-time list. So there you go.
I didn't know that. There we go. I don't go on my Power of 10 enough there.
I might, in fact, I might. No, I might have got that wrong, but yeah, let's have a look. No, sorry, yeah, all-time list under 17, 17th. So with your 8:53, there you go.
17th. Aye, that'll be indoors only, just
Yeah, that's it.
getting that out there.
Still counts.
Indoors.
Take it, mate. Take it.
That was in the Kelvin Hall. It shows you how long ago that was.
Oh, I
Good man.
remember Kevin Hall.
It's good,
Remember
wasn't
that? That was, yeah, I had my first experience indoor, Kevin Hall.
it?
And it was,
I used to go to like some kids' athletics camp. Well, it wasn't a camp, it was every Saturday morning. You would go there and you'd throw a foam javelin and you'd do like a 600-meter run every Saturday morning. I think that's why I love indoors so much, just
uh,
because that was like my first real experience of running weekly. Like every Saturday morning, I was there and warming up the new outside, and it was I always loved it.
yeah.
But
I always just remember like when you're racing it, like I just couldn't stop coughing because the air was so
uh,
dry.
I know, and you need to get used to it. It's definitely the kind of thing that you need to practice. But do you remember how steep the banks were in the Kelvin Hall?
Aye,
The
yeah,
Emirates is people don't know how lucky they are with the Emirates now.
I know. I noticed that then when it's when I first raced there. I was like
Mhm.
getting in the corners. I remember, it'll be similar to Kelvin Hall. I was like, wow, this is 10 times better. Kelvin Hall, you're literally like right up on the side. I just disappeared at a shot there. That's what it was
No,
like.
that's
You
how
just
bad it was. You just
aye.
disappeared.
It's like
Uh,
you're literally running like a 90-degree angle, then back to that again,
mhm.
and
It's
you
funny
wonder
when
why
they
you.
had like the 200 meters and they were in lanes. The person in the
Yeah,
outside lane was running up a big mountain.
aye. But I think lane one always won.
Uh,
But I think the only indoor you'll find me doing when I'm back, even racing again, will be the 3K. It's usually on in January. The indoor, I quite like that.
Aye. I know. I used to always like that be the kind of one that I would target because it's the only real one. But then when you're like 18, 19, 20, and it's on the 3rd of January, it's no great timing.
No,
I used to always struggle with it. I
yeah.
hit one good one when I'd finally matured for going out at New Year, my 3K PB. Oh, I think actually that was in February. It got moved because of COVID. So I've not even got I've not even got a good one for the 3rd of January. Um, but that was no, I love indoors. Unfortunately, I just didn't quite have the leg speed to be a good 3K well, like a really good 3K indoors. I still don't know how I ran that 3K PB. That was just one of the days where everything clicks.
Yeah.
And I think I was quite sure on that day that I wasn't going to run any faster. I would love to have broke 8 minutes, but an 8:04 is, I think, the best I'm ever going to do.
That's swift.
It's not
8:04.
bad, is it?
It was
And
good. I sat behind Chris Jones for 14 laps, and then I went in front, and I was like, feeling good here, feeling good. And I think he like cut my heels a wee bit like 100 meters ago. And I was like, oh, he's still here, he's still here. And last 30 meters, he just flew past me. And that was it. Another Scottish title that I need to wait for. I've never had a senior Scottish title,
Have you
and
not?
I've no. So
well,
that'll be it.
there will be, hopefully, marathon the Scottish Marathon Championship. I think they're held during the London Marathon, isn't it?
Aye. Mm-hmm.
So you
Yeah.
never know if
Never
you
know. Aye.
if you get a wee invite like, oh, listen, that's you, elite entry. The only thing you might need to, haggle we'll battle with Callum for that Scottish title, but yeah,
Aye. No, I think maybe going to go for definitely the half champs in March,
yeah.
and maybe the 10 mile champs.
I'd say have a look at that. Is that the Tom
April.
Scott usually?
Aye.
Yeah,
Mhm.
our friend of the show, Craig Ruddy's got his name on that, so I'm sure
Oh.
you can join that illustrious list.
Mhm. Aye, it'll be good to Craig. Craig definitely beat me that day. I ran 2:21. That was still early enough that he was able to give me some words of encouragement. It didn't work.
Good old Craig Ruddy. He'll be back. He'll be back, smashing it. Hopefully at some point, Pete. So he
Hopefully,
will.
yeah.
Oh, aye, definitely.
Hopefully.
So,
But,
go on, Tom.
what? Well, just one last thing. You just talked about 3K. Pete, what's your 3K PB?
It is 8:46, I think, maybe 8:47, but we'll go 8:46.
That's good, man. My
It's not
God,
really, but
that my best is 9:24. But I thought that
Mm.
was not bad. I was like 3:08 a k. But then Ryan's saying about marathon paces between 3 and 5 now.
Yeah.
Oh no, mate. It surprises me, I know, when I see these paces. I'm like, Jesus, it's quite fast, that is.
I don't
So
know.
Ryan, just to check, I might be wrong. Were you obviously in Valencia? You absolutely smashed it. Were you running for Scotland that day, or did you just decide to wear
No,
your
I
kit?
just wore the vest.
Fair play, fair
I'm
play.
happy wearing the vest as long as there's no Scotland team there. Like, I think that would be quite unacceptable. But
Where,
I just
where did you get? What was the vest from? Was that from Antrim?
that was from Antrim.
Yeah,
Aye. So I knew that I could race in that kit. Like it was absolutely ponding that day at Antrim,
yeah,
and it didn't
Aye.
like rub me or anything. It didn't get too heavy, and I felt like I would get a lot of good shouts, and I did with the
yeah.
Scotland vest.
That helps. Yeah,
It's just a much better material than the Cambuslang vest. I think when you're running 26 miles and it might get a bit hot,
yeah.
any sort of advantage that you can give yourself is
Yeah.
good. So I no, it was good and the photos look quite good with the blue, the bright blue.
Yeah.
It's quite
Aye.
striking.
I was going to say it was a really good picture, and then
Aye.
especially with the Valencia background with the sunshine and all that as well. I was like, that's a good photo.
Do Cambuslang not have a saw vest then? Have they not embarked down?
No, they don't have a sword vest. No, unfortunately.
What do
We're
you
still
reckon?
using
So good.
we're still using the vests I've been wearing, I think, since I started running.
That is
They
that.
just changed the name for Ron Hill to just Cambuslang Harriers.
Yeah, there you go. Well, what do you reckon, Sean? Do you think Ryan will look good in black and white vertical stripes?
He absolutely would. Absolutely would. I think
Oh,
anyone would look
okay.
great in the black and white stripes.
I couldn't do that to my dad. My dad's been running for Cambuslang since he was 14. So
Oh, I couldn't. I get people. You get obviously it's Inverclyde, then you get Greenock Glen Park. I get Glen Park. People ask me like, "Where are you? Like you? One day you join Glen Park?" I'm like, no. Even if I left Inverclyde, I don't think I would join our running club. I think if you're with one running club, that's you're kind of. It's not like it's not like it's not like football transfers. You know what I mean? You do get people. I think there's one. I think there's one master. I haven't seen him in years, but he's went from like Cambuslang, Bella, Giffnock, Cumbernauld, and I'm like, well, maybe the club. For me, that's just too much hassle. I'd just stick with the wine club.
try to find a vest that looks good in the 40s.
That will. I know.
Aye.
I know, Ryan, not all of us can get a Scotland vest, you know.
Oh,
Well,
mate.
well, Pete has. Pete's actually run for
It's, aye.
Scotland.
I
There you go.
see.
Yeah, I've not got that nice vest that you've got over that little white bit on the outside, the sort of blended in bit. I don't know if it's an updated version or whether it's just an actual proper Scotland vest, not just the 100k one.
No, I think it's a new one because it's rubbish when you see like they've released a new one and it's really nice, but
Yeah,
you've not been picked for a team in years, so everybody else has got it and you've no.
yeah. Thanks for that.
No, that
Uh,
was me with that new one before Antrim. I think it was like 2 years since they brought that one out. I'm like, that's well nice. I want that, and finally got it.
There you go. So just while we were talking about like clubs and stuff and training groups and that. So again, I don't know if I saw it on one of your sort of stories or Ross's. So is there are you linking in with the boys down at Leeds then with their sort of Meanwood group? Is there any sort of second claim, any affiliation with Leeds? I'm not really too sure. So is there anything in that?
There's no affiliation with the club,
Right.
but it's just a great place to be. There's so many good runners down there, good marathon runners.
Yeah.
So me and Ross are going to go down for a month.
Oh, decent. When's that?
15th of January, I think we go down.
Right. Okay.
So just like the month over, end of January, start February.
Good stuff.
Just get down there and get some training in, and then like I would love to move down there. It's just a case of actually making it happen.
Yeah.
And obviously, I can't train with people like Phil and stuff because Phil's marathon pace is just so much faster than my marathon pace. But the amount of people that are just down there because they've got a big uni group on the track, and I
Yeah.
went to the track one night, and I've never seen so many people on a track. Just groups of like 30 people in a group, but there's like four of them, and it's just such a good place to be. A good like the training is amazing, but no affiliation with the club. I think I would need to live in there for longer than a month before anything like that happened. I'm not
Yeah.
sure I'd make a team sometimes with the teams they put it.
They're
No,
pretty impressive.
definitely just because I do all my training it's myself at home. I've
Right.
got my dad on the bike pretty much all the time now.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how I managed to talk him into that one, but he does it and doesn't he moan about it that much.
Does
But in terms of actual training partners, I don't have any. So going down there and even just having people for easy runs or Phil's dogs when I'm allowed to watch them, it helps a lot. It's really good.
Good
And
stuff.
I was
aye,
going to say your dad on the bike. You've got your YouTube channel as well. So I'm guessing
aye,
when you're running, talking, it's your dad that's filming you. Yeah.
aye. And that's like if you told me this time last year that he was going to be featuring in my YouTube videos, I just like, don't be so daft. What are you talking about? But he's just lent right into it. I don't know what he thinks he's going to get out of it, but he seems to be loving it, and people seem to like him and all. They don't need to live with him, but
I
he's
maybe we need to
good.
get podcast then. We need to get him on
Oh, aye,
with
that'd
his
be good.
stories.
Well, I don't know if he'd do that. I think he'd. I can't imagine him doing a podcast, but we'll need to see. I'm
Ah,
sure he'd have some good things to talk about. You'd be here for us.
No,
I
that'd
think
be
that's
good. Yeah,
flat.
let's make that happen. But no, so just I'll just get this in now and not leave it right to the end. So obviously, Sean mentioned about your YouTube channel there. So you've got your. I think you can just search in Ryan Thomson running. Is that right? Yeah.
I think maybe even Ryan Thomson just works now. I don't know.
Good.
It didn't work a few months ago, but it might
Right.
work now.
You're
And
getting
obviously, you've
popular.
got your website
Aye,
as well, ryanthomsonrunning.com. So
yep.
again, we were just chatting beforehand, and I tried to negotiate with you, and we kindly agreed. So the Scottish Running Podcast exclusive. So you kindly agreed, maybe from the start of the new year, so January, which would be ideal for London. I think you said I twisted your arm a little bit, and you reluctantly agreed that you give one of our viewers. So we'll do a week competition at some point. So a 12-week plan with Ryan Thomson coaching. And again, obviously, just like it's been great talking to you. You clearly know your stuff. You've been in the sport a while. Very insightful. And again, you're surrounding yourself with guys that also, and it's just like you're picking up bits. You've got your own knowledge anyway. So I think that's amazing. We've seen your progression at the marathon yourself and the tweaks that you've made to get from 237 down to 215. So there you go, guys. A 12-week training plan. So thanks a lot for that, Ryan. We'll get that competition out for one of our viewers who wants to pick your brains and learn from the best. So cheers.
That sounds good. Sounds good.
Don't,
There
don't worry.
definitely it wasn't as much arm twisting as I love writing training plans.
Yeah, no, you were very kind to say that you'd be happy to do that. So thanks, mate. Really chuffed for that. Yeah, obviously, I've got a brass neck. I thought we'd have that conversation. So no, brilliant. That's great news for someone that can get in touch with you. And again, but obviously anyone else that's interested that wants to have a look, very competitive. You know, there's some guys out there that charge an arm and a leg, but not yourself. Pretty reasonable. And yeah, at the end of the day, you know your stuff. And yeah, I'm sure the results speak for themselves. So anyone that's interested, check out Ryan on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. You'll find him and get in touch.
Absolutely, man.
Cool.
And but yeah, I think we've pretty much covered everything. This has been.
My earphones have went away. Sorry,
Oh,
I think my earphones have went away. Can you still hear
oh,
me?
Yeah, we can
oh,
hear you.
yeah,
Yeah, we
man.
got you.
Good
We can still
stuff.
hear you.
I can just hear you out loud now.
Oh, awesome. Hello, Charlotte.
Oh, he's at work.
That's cool, man. He's gonna be like, I'm gonna come back at retirement to beat that wee Gaffney guy again. But no, it's been a great chat. A good bit of insight into your marathon training, and then it's just you went from that first marathon, 2:37, right, and you've improved. Well, you couldn't not improve off of that, but right down to 2:15 as well, which is great. It's giving people that inspiration. People who've maybe ran a marathon who've been running for years and they've had a bad first one. It just shows you like you can always get faster. No offense, Pete. I know Pete's ran 2:23's first marathon, but he's always been there or thereabouts. So
Well, until this year, where I ran my slowest of 20 marathons. But hey, that's what being lack of training, getting old, and now having a 17-month-old. But life in the old dog year. In fact, Ryan, you're not doing London in April, are you, mate?
I don't think I'm planning on it, no.
Okay, well, I'm gonna try and toe the line anyway. Although I've sent off my championship entry request and I've not heard back yet, so maybe they're like, this guy's still at it. So we'll see.
No, there's still plenty of time, I think, on that one.
Fingers crossed. Well, in fact, you know what? I might try and see if. Well, obviously it won't be rigged. I'll try and win our own competition myself. I'll enter it, and if I get a 12-week training plan, then who knows?
We'll get you in PB shape.
Yes.
well, that's been amazing. And before we leave, have you got any advice to any aspiring runners out there or any other club runners in Scotland?
I think it's always just going to be the cliche advice that everybody gives because there really is no secrets to this. I think I've ran 50,000 miles in my life. I counted it up at the start of the year and I must be getting right up towards 50,000 now. And like that's why I'm running decent marathons now. And people always tell you about talent, oh, he's just more talented, but I've never seen anybody who's better than me at the marathon that doesn't just train really hard. And you need to just train really hard and you need to be consistent with it. And you need to love it at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
There's never going to be a secret, especially for the marathon. And the thing about the marathon is like it's such a specific thing. You're training to run 26 miles as fast as you can. Obviously, if that's your goal. If you're just training to run the marathon, then it's different. But 26 miles as fast as you can, you need to be getting up there and training. My 15-mile treadmill tempo is just not specific. Marathon's not running a treadmill. Marathon's an extra 11 miles on top of that, which is over an hour even. So you just need to be consistent. Do something that you can do consistently. Don't say, oh, Ryan says the marathon's specific, so I'm going to go and run 40k at marathon pace and then not be able to walk for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Just, you need to obviously build up and get there and be consistent with it. But at the end of the day, it's the hard training and it's the months and unfortunately years that are going to get you there. And I've been lucky that I was held back when I was a youngster, and most of these people that were beating me chucked it when they were 16, 17, and I was never sickened by it. I was just held back and made sure that I was doing the right things, and still 20 years later, pretty much, love running as much as I did that 9-year-old that didn't want to swim anymore.
There you go.
So and make sure you're recovering, make sure you're getting good sleep, and not going out and seeing Sam Fender every week. Once every few months is more than enough for that.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Good advice. That's definitely where I'm lacking on the whole sleep front there. But a lot of it's self-inflicted, to be fair. But obviously, when you've got a little one, it's harder. But although I noticed you saying about getting your sleep and all that. Clearly, it sounds like you prefer the New Year's Eve couple of lemonades and a few Gay Gordon strip the willow more than you prefer it before you prefer the indoors. But there you go.
The issue with me, and it's always been the same, I don't have great balance. I'm kind of all in or all out, which is why I can't be trusted to go out for New Year, because
100%, that's
if
me.
I say I'm going to go out and have a few beers, it's no a few beers, no matter how important the 3K is in 3 days. So I pretty much just stay in the house and don't go out when I'm training for a marathon. I don't think I drank at all between July and the 1st of December.
Yeah.
Nice.
Didn't have any drinks because I just know that historically I cannot be trusted to have fun.
No, that's good, mate. I mean, listen, in simple terms, not as advanced as talking about anything marathon specific, but even just chatting to one of my neighbours who's a runner. I won't mention his name. I was talking to him a bit about running, giving him this advice, and I was like, listen, two things straight away: stop drinking alcohol, or at least when you're training for a marathon, and run more miles, and you'll be doing all right. And that seems to be going okay. But
that's good advice. I don't know how much I believe this Garmin body battery thing. Like, I always wear my Garmin to sleep.
Yeah.
But before the marathon, it was pretty much always getting up to 100 every time. Every morning I'd wake up be 100. Right. Recently, since the marathon, when I've not been sleeping as well, I've been eating worse, it's been going up to maybe 80. Last night, after a few drinks, I woke up and it was 16. So it obviously knows something's going on. I don't know how accurate it is, but it definitely knows that something's not quite right.
Fair enough. So I just wanted to say there as well, I think when you took your earpods out, you zoomed back a little bit there, which was quite good because I can see some medals up there to the right. Is there a wee little medal collection, or are they your dad's?
No, that's my Scottish medals there.
Oh, there we go. Let's have a look. Look at that. Beautiful.
Yeah, there we go. That's a lot of years worth there.
I've got a few back there myself. You might notice Sean's just put in the Scottish Running Podcast as his background because he's got too many to fit in the screen. So he's a very modest guy, is our Sean. Very humble. So.
Well, I can be honest about mine and say most of them are probably team medals. So
they'll count.
Cambuslang have had some successful teams over the years.
Oh yeah.
That'll be Robert Gilroy and what's his name? Stuart, the flying lawyer.
Stuart Gibson.
Yeah.
Had a few good Livingston 6-stage teams with them in it.
There you go, some good boys. Nice one.
Definitely.
No, cheers. It's been great chatting to you, Ryan. Obviously, I've not met you before, so it's been nice to chat to you. I look forward to catching up with you on the circuit. Just not at any marathons on the line though. But
no, it's been great fun. It's been good. I love chatting running.
And that's been really good.
Yeah, always happy to chat running for a lot longer than anybody wants to hear about
it. Don't they all, man? Well, thank you very much again, man. It's been awesome.
No, thanks very much. I appreciate that.